Hey everyone, and welcome back to Mall Walking. Today we're checking out a Debenhams department store in some of its final hours of operation. The first Debenhams store opened its doors in 1778 on London's Bond Street. At its peak, there were over 150 Debenhams stores in the UK. By the time this video is posted, they'll all be gone for good. How does a store with a gross transaction value of almost £3 billion as recently as 2018 fail? Obviously, the pandemic didn't help, but there's more to this story. Like, despite operating almost 100 stores right up until their permanent closure, Debenhams had a statutory loss of almost £500 million even back in 2018. The store's been in trouble for a long time, for all sorts of reasons, including high rents, dwindling profits, and yes, online shopping. Another common but fairly vague criticism is that the store failed to keep up with the times. It did stock various name brands such as Wrangler and Lee, but has never really cemented itself as a go-to spot for fashion or homewares in the way that other department stores like Selfridges or Harrods and John Lewis have managed to do so. The store itself was in good shape. There wasn't much in the way of merchandise left, as you can see, but everything was still really clean. It was a sad sight and sort of reminded me of the phrase rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. The brand went into administration in 2019, with online retailer Boohoo purchasing the brand in January of 2021 for £55 million. Unfortunately for Debenhams workers, this didn't include any of the remaining physical stores, and Boohoo plans to run the brand online in name only. Ultimately, you have to wonder why Boohoo bothered to spend so much money. It's pretty clear that the brand doesn't have much in the way of cachet with younger customers, but the company has been on a spending spree lately, and now has the following brands in its portfolio: Boohoo, Boohoo Man, Karen Millen, Nasty Gal, Pretty Little Thing, Coast, Miss Pap, Oasis, Warehouse, Dorothy Perkins, Wallace and Burton. Maybe this move is an attempt to lure an older clientele, since most of the brands I just listed are aimed at 18 to 35-year-olds. Personally, I'm not sure I see that move working, but maybe I'll be proven wrong. The store certainly didn't fail for lack of footfall, with most Debenhams located either in busy town centres or as mall anchors. Here we're taking a quick look at Bridges Shopping Centre, the mall that this store was the anchor of. It was pretty busy, but even with the promise of cut price deals to be had, Debenhams itself was still fairly quiet for the most part. By the time I visited, most of the store's merchandise had already gone, and there were large sections of the store that were cordoned off. The washrooms, for example, were no longer available for use. And the cafe had already closed, and was being used to store row after row of mannequins. The store still being open really was about letting the proverbial vultures pick the carcass clean before closure. What really strikes you when you're wandering around here is just how massive these spaces are. A typical Debenhams store is, or was, spread over 3 or more floors, and letting agents have a daunting task ahead of them trying to find another retail entity to fill these sprawling stores. There really were some great ambient sounds in this place, from the occasional squeak of polished floors to hangers screeching their way along the few remaining racks. Unfortunately, they had some music playing over the PA, so I've had to dub over all of that. However, I did check out another closing Debenhams that wasn't playing music, so I may upload that at a later date if you're hungry for some dead department store ambience. Heading back to the ground floors, you can see that most of the remaining merchandise had been shifted from the upper floors to those further down. leaving the sad ghost of what would have presumably once been a lively makeup department. It also meant there were lots of these kind of scenes upstairs, with plenty of fittings and fixtures still waiting to be disposed of. Maybe I'm just being sentimental, but there's a part of me that's sad to see Debenhams going, even if I didn't really shop there. It's never enjoyable to see empty units in malls or on the high street, and the departure of Debenhams is going to leave some big spaces to fill. There are some sad videos on TikTok of other Debenhams stores closing for the final time, like this one from Swaggy GC. Even though it looks like the staff are making the best of it, it's tough to watch knowing that as those shutters came down for the final time, 12,000 of them across the country became unemployed. In fact, one of the girls who just walked past, there, was telling her friend about her past experiences of working in the store. I was trying to stay low-key, so I opted not to ask her if I could do a full-on interview right there in the middle of the shop. I'm really glad I made it out to a couple of different Debenhams stores before they closed permanently. For the Americans watching, their disappearance is probably on par with Sears or Macy's closing for good. In other words, it's a big deal for the retail space here. And besides that, there were so many interesting things to see, like this beautiful, if a little water damaged, stained glass ceiling display. Thanks for checking out the video, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, please consider dropping a like or subscribing. As always, my Instagram is linked in the description below. Before we leave, let's take one quick final ride in the elevator. I know there are folks out there who enjoy that sort of thing. Now, for the last time, goodbye from Debenhams.